When this government and future governments sit at the budget table, it is your practical, achievable vision articulated through these forums that will guide our investment decisions. There is no more simple way to put it, and no more simple way to describe the responsibility, the weight that falls on your shoulders. And we need certainty more than ever. I think that was a valuable lesson out of the last 4 years, and it's certainly what we need in response to the news out of Canberra on Friday around the $2 billion cut. We need to have absolute certainty about what we are going to do in the Northern Territory, what our plans for the future are, how our public sector dollar is going to be invested so that you can unlock your private sector investment. We need certainty and we need long-term plans, and they will only survive my government and future governments. They'll only survive political cycles and egos and all that sort of stuff if they are genuinely developed together. If there was genuine buy-in, you, me, all economic sectors, the community are buying into our long-term plans. That's what sees them survive the boom-bust cycles of the Territory, and that comes with politics as much as it does with business. That's why what you are doing today is so important. I very much appreciate you taking the time to do it, and I know that we were actually oversubscribed today. We had a close-off entrance, so I very much appreciate the fact that the people of Darwin put up their hand to be part of this, and the people across the Northern Territory put up their hand to be part of this. I did just touch upon the news out of Canberra on Friday. Obviously, the $2 billion out of the GST receipts makes our budget difficult. But Territorians must come first. The Territory must come first. And as tough as our budget is doing it, we know that many of you out there are doing it tougher. And I do make that promise to you that we will shape our budget to the needs of the Northern Territory. We will fight for more money out of Canberra. We will fight for the Commonwealth to invest in their own policies, to close the gap on Indigenous advantage, to develop the North, the Defence White Paper, the response to the Royal Commission, the Cities deals, Commonwealth plans. We must see action from them on their own policies and strategies here in the Northern Territory. And at home, I can promise you that we will keep our promises and we will invest in the Northern Territory to grow and create jobs here, because that's what our economy needs now and into the future. We will continue to invest in the Northern Territory because we are on the side of business and we are on the side of jobs. We cannot put on the handbrake. We can't cut $2 billion out of the Territory budget over 2 years. It can't be done. And we can't raise $2 billion of revenue, so it's all right, you can take a deep breath on that one. We recognise that we've got to be very careful right now of our budget because the Territory is in a difficult situation. 2016 was the worst year for many, and we know 2017 is going to be a tough year. So we will make the right budget decisions. We'll be smart, we'll be diligent, and we will be asking everyone to do their fair share. But we must continue to move boldly to a shared vision. The news from the Commonwealth Grants Commission means it's even more important to plan. It's even more important to plan sensibly with your expertise. You're the ones on the front line. We've got to plan together. This is not a talk fest. We've got to make every dollar count. I need your ideas. This is about identifying those tangible and specific opportunities that we can make real. For example, Darwin might not become a shipbuilding centre tomorrow, but we can become a ship repair centre. We have to keep working on those practical opportunities and make sure we get maximum return out of the public sector dollar. This is what the Economic Summits are all about. You will share the future of the Northern Territory. The Economic Development Framework will form a blueprint for the Northern Territory beyond me and beyond my government. These are draft documents. Please feel free to rip them apart and put them back together again. What we create at the end of this process is a Territory vision, and it must be strong enough to survive and strong enough to evolve. So please feel complete liberty to take those draft documents and put them together as you think we need to see them. Because you see the opportunities, you see our strengths, the Northern Territory strengths. You know best where targeted investment from us or the Commonwealth will deliver the greatest return. We need your advice. You are the drivers of the top end's future prosperity. I don't believe anyone doubts the fact that we have great potential, whether it's cattle or mining, agribusiness, tourism, the defence investment that's coming, the resources potential, and of course the small business potential feeding off it all. To give you some examples, to give you some signs of confidence in the Northern Territory economy, just this month we gave major project status to TNG Limited's Mount Peak $850 million vanadium titanium iron ore mine project and to Vedant Minerals' $750 million Amaru phosphate project. Between them, they could create about 2,000 construction jobs and a further 800 ongoing jobs. And, ladies and gentlemen, you are the first to know today that we are announcing a major project status for KGL Resources Copper Project, about 270 kilometres northeast of Alice Springs. With environmental approvals, if it gains them, this $190 million project is expected to create 360 jobs during an 18-month construction period and 300 jobs once operational. An environmental impact statement is scheduled to be submitted in 2018 and pending approval, construction could begin late 2018 or early 2019. All three of those are massive projects, economically, for jobs, population drivers, from Alice all the way to Darwin, and they are tremendously exciting. So we have got projects on the horizon in the Northern Territory. We've got 18 now with major project status. Decisions in Canberra may take away from our budget, but nothing will take away from our natural, cultural, environmental and mineral wealth here in the Northern Territory. Our proximity to the Asian middle class, the booming Asian middle class, our young and enterprising population, our immense future. There's a lot to be very positive about in the Northern Territory. There's a lot of assets and resources here. We have much to be excited about, much to work with. And the blueprint that you create, that we create from the Economic Summits process is a long-term vision, but I also know that Darwin needs things now with the ICTHIS construction phase wind down. And that's why we did reform government's buy local principles. We fast-tracked the $120 million of infrastructure projects, stamp duty relief for first-time buyers, the bigger, better home improvement scheme, $22 million immediate work stimulus package, and we've seen them all taken up very well here in Darwin to try and create those jobs now to get the money flowing locally again. That was the first part of our jobs plan. The more important parts, in some respects, rely on you now. The certainty and the confidence that we need in the Northern Territory economy based off long-term plans that we are investing in. Looking longer term, many great ideas have already come from the 4 months of summit processes to date. Thank you very much for that. There has been some common themes over the last 4 months of what we need to do to drive economic growth, job growth and population growth, Darwin, top end and across the Northern Territory. We do have a shared vision of what makes the Northern Territory great. That Darwin is our great tropical northern capital of Northern Australia. That we are Australia's gateway to Asia or Asia's gateway to Australia. We must create a vibrant CBD. We must enliven our laneways. We must redevelop State Square and have a significance to our CBD, a sense of place, a sense of significance. We have to connect our two waterfronts, Cullen Bay and the waterfront. We have to bring them together and we have to have a harbour city that faces the harbour. Down the highway, we must invest in Katherine. G'day, Faye. We must invest in Katherine as an inland agribusiness and logistics centre, as an inland port. Cattle and mining has been the heritage of Tennant Creek, but it's also its future. And in Alice Springs, we have got the inland capital of Australia, the beating heart of Indigenous Australia and the gateway to Uluru and the Macdonald Ranges. We are a land of the most ancient and living culture. We are a land of opportunity. We have got a priceless environment and our people are valuable. There is much for us to work with today and over the long term. How we build on these visions, the shared vision, is the work that we do now. Let us look to the levers that government can pull to get the best out of you. How can government support you and get out of the way? Sitting underneath our economic development framework is the infrastructure strategy and what will be a 10-year infrastructure plan. Public investment unlocking private sector investment. You're about to move off into your breakout groups. As I said already, these drafts have been fleshed out over 4 months' work. That's 4 months' work that's gone into those drafts. but we want you to feel completely free to tear them apart and pull them back together again. That's what today is about. Don't feel shy about doing that. These documents have to have your voice in them. You should be able to see yourself, and you should be able to see your future and the future of your kids in these documents. If you don't, now's the time to speak out. Now's the time to take your place in the future of the Northern Territory. I very much value the fact that you have taken your Wednesday to be here today, and I very much value the fact that you have given so much time over the last 4 months for us to even get here. And in particular, I want to thank the volunteers of the External Reference Group, some of whom you'll hear from today, who have volunteered a significant amount of time to help us keep the summits process on track and to the point. And I thank you all. I thank you all very much.